It's 4 in the morning. As you can tell, my sleep is kind of jacked up. So this is going to be a cool video, and I'm going to start this video with telling you that today actually, now technically yesterday, wow, was my most inspiring day in the studio, maybe, I don't know, forever, in a long time anyway. It was unbelievable. So my friend slash client Scooter Page, he came out from California. So check it out. So I came back from my trips. I was teaching and we're doing workshops in Anaheim and Orlando, and I came back and I started getting sick on Sunday, and by like Tuesday I'd done multiple COVID tests. Anyway, Wednesday he was flying out. Wednesday morning I went to the urgent care and tested no strep, no flu, no COVID, nothing. So not sure what was up, but they started me on steroids, cough suppressant, an inhaler. But Scooter Page was flying out that day, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, and he's intense, man. He's like, he's into it, and he's not really. I don't know. It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? So we'd written the song on Skype like the day before or something, and 2 days before, and the drummer tracked it in New York and was sending me the tracks like late Wednesday night. So I got the drum tracks. So Thursday morning I get up and we start working, and I import the drum tracks. We do a quick comp, and I start to kind of edit. And remember, all this stuff's very on the fly, so it was a fair amount of work. And I was not feeling well. But what I did was, once I got the drums like put it sounding like comped and edited pretty good, I pulled in that template that I had put in a few weeks ago. There's a video about where I took my mix template and I took my production template and I made one big template, and that's what I used. I extracted that from the what I ended up using to mix when 7 was 6, the baritone instrumental. So I pulled all of it in. It was the full template, and I ran the drums through it, and it took me a little while because it was really mixed. It was a mixed template for Superior, so with real drums there were a lot more things to deal with. So it took me about an hour, but I got the drums sounding good. Unfortunately, I will tell you, I can't play anything that we did. When it's ready, you guys will get to hear it, but it's it's not copywritten, and it's for licensing reasons. I'm going to actually cover the name of this. This is not for public consumption right now. So, but I want to show you I'll tell you what happened. So I get the drums sounding good, and now I've never worked like this. I've always worked with literally no plugins, because for as long as I can remember, I've had computer issues. Like, it's always something's going on with this and that, and I'm always like trying to keep everything as stripped down. Plus, it's like the old way, like especially when Pro Tools started in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, you never wanted to, you wanted all the energy going to like the latency and the tracking and keeping it like clean and pure. Well, like a year or two ago, 2 years ago, when I switched out to this new Mac, I started having problems. As soon as I switched my whole new rig, I dropped like 15 grand on an Avid converter, a Mac, i9, iMac, and it wasn't solving the problem. I was still having these weird issues. needless to say, I updated to a new version of Pro Tools and everything that now no longer like hogs up and uses this HDX card. It uses the computer. And this is an i9 with 64 gigs of RAM. And then I switched out. I got rid of the RAID system. If you're doing music, man, I don't like RAID systems. I don't like it copying redundantly at the same time. Like I want streamline. And I ended up buying a solid state, the Samsung T7, 2 terabyte drive, perfect. So, and what I noticed was that if I would go to disk usage, it was now using the CPU. So here's the full like song. This is with the mix. And here's the thing. I would always have the playback engine. I would always have the buffer as high as possible when I was mixing. But, I keeping it down at like tracking buffers, 128. Look at it. You're not going to hear any sound though. Look at that. That's like a full entire mix. It's like the whole deal. So, look at that. So here's the deal. I set these drums up, and it sounded beautiful, and they're going through like all their, kick one, kick in, kick out, and kick trigger. These three guys here are coming out this kick sub. So there's your kick sub, and then snares are going out snares, and toms are going out toms, and then I've got a drum crush and a drum bus, and then I've got all these, effects. I've got an eventide. These are reverbs. I've got an EMT reverb, a Bricasti, AMS Neve, and then, oh my God, I wrote some notes. I just needed to do this tonight. Let's put it this way. I can't ever imagine going back. And I knew people that worked like this. And, because I would be in the middle of working with people, and they would be tracking a bunch of stuff, and then I would be tracking the singer. They would send me the Pro Tools session. I would pop the singer in here. I'd open their session. It was like a whole mix session. I'm like, how are you working like it? It was just weird to me. The only thing that I do when I'm tracking that I did with this was here's like the mix bus. It's in the box. I just deinstantiated all of the plugins. I didn't want the plugins on while I was tracking on the master. And then like with the bass, I just tracked the bass out. And then when I got done with the bass, then I just put it through the bus and the crush. I probably could have just done it all like this, but I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still getting used to it, but no matter what, it worked perfectly. And the thing was that when I went to track bass, man, the drums were like cannons. It was totally different than normal. Because normally I'm tracking like raw drums. And the other thing too, it felt like I didn't have to track as loud. Because my hearing, sometimes I track so loud because, like, especially when I'm tracking guitar, like, and rhythms, like, I want this pounding, man. I don't like headphones. I want it pounding in the room. And I want the click banging and the drums, like, I want everything. But with it mixed and sounding so intense, and I'd put in, trigger, a kick trigger, snare trigger. I mean, it was just like boom, bam. And this is kind of like a System of a Down, kind of Rage Against the Machine, like progressive funk metal or something. I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's a cool song too. I'll turn you guys onto it when I can play it for people. Scooter Page is the artist, and we wrote it. I wrote the music. He wrote the lyrics and the melody. But it's cool. It's one of the coolest things. I'll tell you, I'm on a roll. So track bass or track guitars, and when I get the guitars going, so I like again, I got this Kemper again. This is my fourth Kemper, but this is it. It's staying. I got a great deal on it. And I love some of the sounds on this, especially the heavies. And I did the original scratch track with the Kemper, like while I was writing the song, and I was using one of those VH4 profiles that I like. I think it's Deadlight Studios. I think it's VH4 number 25. So I get done with the scratch tracks, and here's another thing I learned from this life of what I do. Always play well in your scratch tracks, because a lot of times you end up using them because they just have a certain thing about them. So I literally wrote the song, and I write a part. I did a scratch track. I moved down a line, and cut and paste. But when it was done, I had this like single track of this VH4, and then when we got the drums back, then I put on my Ocean mod, my Marshall, and I put I fired up the Kemper simultaneously, and I did a DI. So here are like the tracks. Here, I'll play you this. This is here, I'll make it big. And I took and I deinstantiated and hid the DI. There's a DI. It's 3 tracks, but you're only seeing 2. And what I do is when I hit play, I do a tick tick, and then I use that to get my differential. So the time adjuster was I had to knock the Marshall back 137 samples because there's a little delay with the Kemper. But I could have went the other way. I could have just kept the guitar where it was and then just moved the Kemper tracks. I had 137 samples. It's whatever. I just did it this way. It sounded fine. And then what I do is so it'll start, song starts, and I tick tick tick. And then I use that, but I keep that because I don't want to lose that, but I don't like to see it. So I always do a playlist, and there it is, and it's muted, just so you know. But there it is, so I can go back at any point, and it's always there. It's the beginning of all my guitar tracks. But the Kemper, it sounds so nice, man, with the Marshall. Oh, and I switched over to one of my Mesa profiles. It was a Mesa dual rack. I think it was maybe Chop Tones. I don't know if it says it. It should say it. I always write it in there. Yeah. No, it's the Mesa 28 Deadlight Studios. So, and then Billy is the 800. So, yeah, it sounded great, man. And then I was like because I was learning the song as I went, because I wrote the song a couple days ago, and I'm literally felt like I was dying. So then I was like, I had to relearn the song, and I'm learning the song, and I'm playing along with the scratch track. And then when I took the scratch track out, I was like, oh, I like it with the scratch track in, almost like as a mono guitar. So you see here, there's some of the main heavy guitars that are stereoed. You'll see them. They're here. They're muted in spots, so it does that thing where there's dropouts. It's a little bit, almost like a little bit of like a hip hop thing or something. I don't know, but there it is. So like it's like big and then it goes more mono right here, and it's that VH4, just the Kemper. It sounds so cool. It's got like there's something. It's like a dryness to it or something that I like. It just sounds like, I don't know. It's got this thing, like, I don't know, however I had said it was just perfect. So, and that's why, again, always do good scratch tracks, because you just never know. I mean, I end up using them probably 75% of the time, and I've been doing this so long, and I'm so good to playing to a click track. It's like effortless. People are like, oh, I can't play to a click. It's like me, I play better to a click. Just Give me the grid. Not the grid, but you know what I mean. Like I play good with a click, and I enjoy it, so it doesn't bother me. But probably not your first call for the jam band guy. But that's fine. That's not how I make a living. So anyway, I get done with all these guitars, and it didn't take that long. I cranked it out, man. There it is. And it's all cleaned up because it's like almost like new metal kind of da kind of stuff. So it's chopped, it's somewhat aggressively edited, but it sounds good. But because I was listening to Sugar by System of a Down, the guitars are like da da da, everything's like it's clean, And I didn't gate it. I've been getting away from using gates, and I've been doing it more like this. I like it better. But and then I go to the bass, and I just use the DI and the Sansamp RBI with that Ibanez. What is that? That EBX electric headless bass, electric EHB 1550. MS multi-scale. I'm gonna play this when I can play this. I'll run through this thing because there's a whole bridge at the end, and the bass line, it's like going over the guitars like no 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 no, like it's this kind of like System of a Down kind of exotic herky jerky thing, and Scooter's like, why don't you just keep going, like keep it going. So I started messing with it on the bass, and it was like I don't know how it was so intense though, because it was like off of the E and the B string, like on like fret 2, 3, and 5, like with the multi-scale. I mean, these are not the hands of the multi-scale guy, right? But I played it. It sounds so good. And when I got done with it, I realized it literally is the bass line that I always wanted to write. It's the bass. It's like harkens to the ending of Yankee Rose by David Lee Roth, when they break it down and Billy's like doing that undulating bass line. Look it up, whatever it is. But that it's like it's kind of like got no beginning and no end. It's like this revolving thing. Oh, it sounds so cool. Oh my God, with that Ibanez. Oh man, just killer, man, just killer. So I don't know. I'm just stoked. I'm reading my thing. Computer ran great. Oh, tracked with vibe. That was the other thing. It was like more vibe when it was happening. The singer liked it when he went in to sing. It was like, his headphones sound more like a record. Didn't sound like dry tracks with a little bit of reverb on his vocal. It was cool. And I felt like I played better. And again, I didn't feel like it had to be quite as like abusively loud. Because there was, I don't know if it was the pumping of the compression, but there was more like motion. It wasn't just like don't gat. It was like, I don't know, it had more like this thing going on. And the other thing too is getting to the end of the song and having like literally nothing on it, no EQ, no compression, no effects. I would use these generic effects that I had for tracking vocals, and then I would delete everything and then pull in my mix template. So while I'm tracking vocals, I'm not creating any kind of like a sound per se, other than a 47 into a Neve, which is a great sound, but I'm not like creating like any kind of an atmospheric thing. I'm just getting the pure vocal sound, which is like, I'm a little bit of a purist, so it kind of like it's my thing. But again, going back to this whole thing with like kind of mixing as you go and wanting to get like a more streamlined thing. And the other thing that has really become a turn-off to me is getting done with a song and then starting mixes from scratch. I just don't want to do it anymore. I'll tell you why. What I did today is what I love. I love tracking. I love writing songs. I love producing. I love playing guitar and bass. I love tracking. I love that. I don't love starting mixes from scratch. I don't have a love for it. I I've I've grown to dig mixing, and I would say I've gotten good at mixing, but my love is in tracking and production. So this is what's so exciting about this, because there's sometimes as I'm working on a song, there's always this little feeling of dread. It's almost like, oh yeah, the fun's gonna stop, and then now I've got to sit here and start pulling in templates, and I've got to start to EQ out mid range on the kick like lame. That's not. I'm not. I mean, I engineer for a living because it's what I do, but I am not a knob turner. Absolutely not. I am a musician. So, it's just, this is going to be so great. And it's taken me all this time to arrive here, but this is like my ticket. Like, this is going to work. And I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. Yeah. It's kind of like in the movie The Martian. He says, no, I'm not going to turn the beat around. When he's listening to Commander Lewis's disco. So he gets stuck on Mars, and all he has is disco songs to listen to for 4 years. I love that. Martian's like a movie I'll watch for the rest of my life. There's just certain movies, they never tire of me. I just love that movie. But Tarek says the book is better. I mean, there's always one in every crowd. Tarek's like, the book was better. I'm like, how could the book be better? They were on Mars. I don't want to read about it. I looking at it, but that's just me, man. The book is better. I feel like I'm in like a Woody Allen movie. In Annie Hall when they're online at the movie theater. And he basically, I just happen to have the guy here. And he's like, your preface is completely insane and you're an idiot. Anyway, I wish I could play this, but I will play this. I promise you, I will play this. It's going to be cool, and it's fun, and doing that little instrumental, that 7/6, just that was the game changer. And we've still got more vocals. These are all your basic vocals, or Compton. Yeah, that's it. Just and see, what I've got on this is I've got some effects, but these are the effects that are in the mix bus, or in the mix. They're in the mix. So as I'm doing things, there they are. It's I've got long delay, short delay, and simpler. My whole thing has gotten to be less effects, just simple, man. Just have fun with it. I don't know. Things just get too complicated. Yeah. So anyway, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this is kind of a boing boing video, but I haven't been feeling well, and I think all the medication. It's like I can't sleep. They got me on steroids. I'm on so many steroids. I should go lift weights. And I got Jake in the house. Is Jake awake? You feeling all right? He's got a Chicago Cubs blanket on, my little buddy. All right, kids. And they asked me to sing at Rare Hair. It's a big show out here in Nashville, like kind of ensemble bands of the cool kids in town. Maybe not. I'm not cool, but it's like it's like all the cool dudes, or the better players, and a lot of rock stars show up. And it's in September, and it's thrash, and I'm doing like Caught in a Mosh, Countdown to Extinction, and this other tune. I don't know this band, but I listened to it, and this has got like a little of the operatic metal in it. In Forbidden by Infinite, and Countdown to Extinction, Megadeth, and Caught in a Mosh Pit. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, man, good things are happening. And man, if you're an FM9 or like an Axe Effects guy, there's a new Leon Todd video It says almost every effect. It's an app. It's like 30 minutes long, and it's an absolute must watch to me if you're an Axe Effects guy. It is so great. So I've got my Axe Effects, I've got my Kemper, I've got my amps, I've got guitars. I just gotta, get that one foot that's in the grave out and get healthy. Look. Just I don't know if you guys can catch the vibe, but I am still a little ill. But I'm cool. I'm tough, right? I'm Cuban. Cubano. Later.